All right, members, I think we are live right now. So I'm going to wait a couple minutes see if we can get a few guys to join us while we discuss some incredible topics today. Some stuff that I think is really going to help you. We want to talk about how we can actually help you guys get to a place where we can really start selling in bulk without having to discount our price. Now, there's something that we've done really with some people that we've been working with. And I wanted to share that method with you today, but I wanted to make sure that people, let me see if folks can see me. I'm trying to get into Facebook right now. Let's see, make sure that everything's good. Looks like we're live. Okay, so how's everybody been doing? How's the new year been for you, man? I mean, it has been incredible. I just want to say before we get into things, the shift in just where the market's going has got me excited. And so I am really pumped to share with you guys everything that we've gotten today. And if you're tuning in live, go ahead and let me know what you're working on. Let me know how the new year's been for you. What day are we in, actually? It's the 24th day. We're almost into month one, right? How fast does this go, right? We're already into month one. So really what we want to do today is make sure that I can give you guys some value to help you guys throughout the next couple months. Now, what I'm going to share with you today is going to be a little bit different than what maybe you guys are used to, because again, I know I focus a lot on advertising and paid marketing and things like that, but I also want to make sure that that we have things that are not so directed with Facebook ads, so that if anything were to ever happen, or if I were to spark an idea like hopefully I can give you today, it can help you guys make a lot more money without having to put in any more capital. Okay, so I'm super excited about that. And the first thing we want to talk about is what we were doing, which was the franchise model, right? And this is where, when we are really thinking about how we can sell in bulk for your services or your products, and how to do it in a way that isn't going to have to force you to lose any money. And what I mean by that is typically we price ourselves based on what our actual the amount of work going in and the value and things like that. And we kind of quantify that to figure out how much is it going to cost us to be able to do this. And when we think about the franchisee model, really what we're doing is we're finding people who have already bought into a franchise. And you'd be surprised, or maybe not, I don't know, how many people buy into franchises and don't get the support they need. So what we're doing is we're coming in as, let's say, a Superman, a superhero type deal. And we're going to be able to get some things really going in a way that helps our franchisees make a lot more money, but without having to expend our actual time. You know what I'm saying? And so when we get to crushing it, what's up, my man? Yeah, really. So today with the franchisee, what we're talking about with the franchisees model is going to be able to help you. If you're into selling products or services, it's really going to be able to make you more efficient and still be able to get you in a position to sell a lot more stuff without having to discount your price. So what we do is we found, let's say the one company that we're working with is My House Fitness. Right now, they've got franchisees all over the world, and I'm not trying to all over the country, and I'm not trying to dog anything about what they've done with the franchisee, but they weren't getting the results or the support that they really needed. So we started to work with one, and then we worked with another, then we worked with another, then we worked with another, and what that did is that allowed us to be able to really actually give off the number one, the proof of concept that what we were doing works in multiple markets. Number two, it was able to actually provide these folks with a better result than what they were actually promised from the folks that they purchased the franchise from in the first place. And when you have somebody who's purchasing a franchise, typically they're not trying to be in the marketing business. They're not trying to run a marketing company as well as the franchise. So what we found is one of the fastest ways for you to build up your clientele, sell more of your products, or gain more customers is going to be by developing relationships with franchisees who have been underserved themselves. And there's so many of them out there. A lot of folks actually try and go into a point where they can, actually, buy a franchise. And what we want to do is make sure that we're giving them that experience, and folks are going to love you if you come to them and you go, hey, I have something that can help so many of these franchisees. And what you can do now is give them a bulk discount. And in my position, what I'm able to do is give them an opportunity to have almost like an assembly line. So it's number one, we're able to actually test multiple offers in multiple markets without a really large ad budget. A lot of the times it takes thousands of dollars to be able to get what you need refined and optimized to where it's really pulling in the return that you want. Well, when you have, let's say, 6 locations or 8 locations across the US that are all testing different things at different times, now you're able to compile that data, make smarter decisions, pivot in the future, and then make better results, right? So if we're able to use that to our advantage, and why not, right? And so when you can actually give them the opportunity, you meet with one. So this is how it works. When you meet with one person, you're going to actually say to them, hey, look, I can give this to you. Typically my service fee is, let's say, $30,000 a year. I'll break it down for you for $6,000 a year. And what we'll do is we will actually make it to where you can get that price if you can bring 4 others involved. So 4 times that 1, or 4 plus the 1 that you've got, and that's 5. 5 and that 6 now equals 30. So if I were to say, instead of $30,000 a year, it's going to cost $6,000 a year, but that $6,000 is only if you can get 4 other franchises to actually buy into this. Well, when that happens, now you're able to do the exact same amount of work, but you're able to get more of a reach out there. You're able to test more, able to get more. And plus, now what happens, what we've seen is we get a lot more referrals this way. So you might say, okay, well, Brandon, look, you're discounting so much because you can get one company to give you that amount of money up front. And you could, but then I'd lose out on all the reach from being in all those other markets. Imagine when somebody brand new comes and says, hey, I'm going to be able to make a lot more money in the next 12 months, and they actually do it. A lot of people go, what'd you do different? And these folks are going to give us the luxury now saying, oh, well, I teamed up with this company who's been really, taking really good care of us. And this is what they've been doing. This is what we've been seeing. And next thing you know, you get referrals, very, very high quality referrals that come to you with very low resistance. And when you could use this franchise model to be able to develop not only the relationships with the other business owners, but actually give you the opportunity to serve these guys, right? And now you're testing so much. It's a win-win-win-win-win across all boards. Now, the final thing is, or not the final thing, but one thing that I did want to share with you real quick was to let you guys know, if you're thinking, well, how does this whole thing work? Does it have to work with warm traffic, cold traffic? What kind of offers are we creating for these guys? What kind of funnels? Are they complex funnels? What's going on with this? Whether you're an agency owner right now, if you're a consultant, or if you're a business owner just looking to get some insight today, this, what I'm about to share with you is pretty cool because it's a simple funnel. We've tested it across all markets from out here in Texas in Plano, up in Minnesota, out to Houston, out to Ponte Vedra in Florida. We've gone to Las Vegas, right? We've had clients in Las Vegas that test. So this works no matter where you're at. And it's pretty cool to see the costs that these folks are getting from folks who've never seen them before. And what I mean is that we're driving all of our direct sales campaigns into cold traffic. So nobody right now is actually being indoctrinated. They're not being, seen before this happens, right? So all of our clients or in this case, the franchisee clients that we work with, very simple funnel. So let's actually get into the funnel before we get into the results. Now, the funnel itself, we tested a couple different times. You're going to see the costs difference when I break down in the results in just a second. But you're going to see the costs vary so much because, again, we've got a test and we don't know what's going to work. We don't know how it's going to work. We don't know how well it's going to work. And so we always have to test things. And so the first thing that we ran as a test was let me start sharing the screen first, actually. Let me start sharing the screen. And so I think I pressed the wrong button. There we go. Okay, so let me come back to, where's the screen at? There we go. Still trying to get used to be live. All right, let me share the screen, the whole screen. Boom. Okay, guys. So this was the very first thing that we were able to make sure. Okay, good. Showing the screen. This was the first thing we ran it to. It's more like a e-com landing page where we're gonna provide them with the benefits. It's very crisp. It's white. It's simple. It has their company colors, all this stuff, right? This performed horribly. It didn't perform well at all. So then we went to the shorter version. And once we had the shorter version going, then what we did is we saw that was actually not performing any better. So we don't waste too much time in these tests, right? We know that if we can drive a lot of clicks in a short amount of time from a specifically a captive audience, we know that people within 5 to 10 miles of this person's business wants to, whether they're interested or not, they're going to see the ad, right? because of the fact that location is captive, we want to make sure that we're in front of them more often than not with different types of offers and pages, because they're going to click through the ads more than once because they're going to forget or they're just going to be reinterested. So we're going to want to give them different looks. Well, finally, what we did, it took us 3 shots, right? But the third shot was now bringing it back here where we now have this. Now, this is where we are converting to cold traffic at about, I think it's in the last week, it was over 10%, but over the last month, since December 20th, when this one went live. So imagine we tested, and this is why it's very important for you guys to see exactly how often you guys are testing for, because we tested this from the 4th until the 20th, and it did horrible, right? And the clients were very upset. They were not happy with the results from the 4th to the 20th because those 2 previous landing pages, no matter what we tried, no matter what we did, no matter how often we did the variations, it was not working. And so instead of just continuing to try and beat a dead horse, we just switched up the entire thing, went back to we know what worked across the board with other businesses, right? With other franchises who were in other locations. And now we just went back to what worked. And the numbers speak for themselves. So the reason why this is so important, because it didn't take us an additional 3 to 4 weeks or 5 weeks to figure this out. We already had data from previous locations that were able to give us the confidence to put this into the lineup so that we could drive traffic through it. Pretty cool stuff. Now, next thing that we're going to be doing is looking at, what is it called? Oh, the conversions. There we go. Okay, so if we look at this, just from December 20th, let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. From December 20th until today, we're looking at 70 opt-ins. Okay, so that's not 70 people who are requesting a PDF. That's 70 people who have said, hey, I've given you my name, my phone number, and my email. I want to get a call. I want to download my pass. I want to come in and try your stuff out for free. Now, the response rate in this particular location is different than the others. So in order to protect you from trying this and saying, well, the response rate isn't what I would like, we got to be able to put in these filters, right? These contingency factors, which is what you've got to be able to build into your funnel, right? Do you have SMS text reach outs? Do you have a solid email follow-up? Do you have a nice retargeting campaign, right? Do you have immediate calls happening within 15 minutes? How are you touching out to them and how are you following through on the sales process is going to be a very important factor. But imagine if you own 70 numbers in the last, 35 days, 70 people who have said, hey, look, I want to come in and give you money, right? Well, if you're closing even 10% of that, that'd be, let's say 7 of them. And that would be, in this case, they're selling about $200 packages. So that'd be about $1,400. Now, if we look at the amount that they invested in that time, it was probably right around 900 or so. In that, maybe 8 to 1,000. So let's say 900 in that. So that's still an immediate profit. Plus that 1,400 would be ongoing. So you're looking at an additional, and they usually have lifetime value about 6 months. So you're looking at 1,400 times 6. So, I mean, in a perfect world where you're closing 10%, and that's even, I think, something on the low end. But if you're closing, let's say 10% of them, that's 1,400 times 6 now, right? So, I mean, that's 6,000. It's like 8,200 or something like that, right? 8,400 that you're looking at in a return on your ad spend when you only invested about 900. So you're looking at about a 7-to-1 return. Okay, so, and this is just following a very simple, basic funnel, right? We did a little bit of testing, came back here, boom, found out that this is working fantastically. Well, you can see it's very simple, right? To whom and what shall we send the free week pass? And then it just goes to send the free pass. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes with this, but you'll see that from the testing, this was pretty much it. And the reason why I wanted to share this with you guys today was because if you're in a spot and you're thinking, okay, well, how can I get clients fast? How can I go ahead and get these, new customers fast? How can I build my pipeline? Well, one way would be to go to, a franchise that might be a little underserved from the franchisor and offer to do some business with them at a discounted price if they can get other franchisees on board. What's going to happen is you're going to see the amount of work you have to do isn't going to increase by much. And you're going to be able to, number one, create new relationships with wonderful people who really do need your help. And that's the number one thing, right? And then beyond that, the amount of word of mouth that goes on beyond to these new markets that you would not have hit if you were not thinking strategically, you'd be, kind of left without. So that's something to think about. And it allows you now the opportunity to see how simple this could be. A 3-page funnel, it's really only 2 pages, right? We only have this. And then if we were to look at the thank you page, I mean, where's the stats at again? This is the funnel. That's the old one. Where's that? There we go. So look, you have the opt-in, the thank you, and the free pass, which comes, I don't. That's not even really being delivered because we actually maneuvered both of them together. So you have a two-step funnel. That's it. Okay, so pretty cool stuff to see that. And so that's really there. I don't know if you guys have anything that you'd like to share about what you've seen. The next thing I want to share with you guys is how to actually get the growth without capital. Now, a lot of folks are going to say, well, it's, referrals, or maybe what would it be? Social media, right? Maybe something like that. And what I've seen is that, yes, that works, but there's actually a better way, right? There's actually a better way to be able to do this. And what I mean by growth without capital is there's so many folks that are stuck in one way of thinking. They're like, okay, well, Facebook advertising is going to solve my problems, which let's not even go down that road, okay? Because Facebook's not your problem, right? So many folks are like, well, my business is not doing well. Maybe I should, I got to go on Facebook. It's my funnel. It's my follow. It's my emails. It's my retargeting approach. It's my offer. And sometimes it is, most likely it is the offer. A lot of the time it's the offer. But when it's not the offer, it's typically just such a one way of thinking. And when you could think outside the box and start to really develop strategies that don't require any amount of income, they don't require any amount of building and technical stuff. It's really more strategery and schemery, right? And that's some Kern College words right there. Me just working with a lot of these folks over the last couple of years, it's really opened my eyes to the amount of possibilities that are out there that are way beyond the internet. The internet's great, it's powerful, but it's not the end all. It's not the all of be all, right? And we got to make sure about that. And so one thing that we could do to create even more revenue within our business without investing any more capital is going to be from creating these partnerships. Now, I know you guys are thinking, well, JV partnerships and stuff, that's not brand new news. It's not. So why aren't you doing it, right? And there's so many of us that are sitting back going, well, it's because I don't have the clientele. It's because I don't have the experience. It's because I don't know what to say. All that sounds like some excuses, right? So if we were to actually think about how we can do this, okay, I'm going to give you guys some step-by-step plans. I got my little notepad here so I could actually be precise with this and share with you what you could do, because this is the same thing that we did. A little bit of a backstory, 30 seconds, is we did the same approach. It was probably about 2 years ago. Yeah, it was almost, about 14 months ago only. And what happened was we got incredible results with it. Now, the reason why we're not using this in a specific industry, I'm going to use this as an example about, is because of the bureaucratic red tape. We got caught up in a lot of the lengthy process, and I'll explain to you what I mean. We started calling colleges. We started to want to partner with colleges. Our thought process was, hey, who has our market, right? Who has our market that is already serving them, and that we can step into that infrastructure and deliver a product or service that's going to be complementary to what they're already selling. Well, the number one thing that's kept coming to mind for me was college students, the whole selling them on an entrepreneurial education without actually giving them sales skills and marketing skills is crazy. So we went after that market, and next thing you know, we just went down the list from the states after Texas. We started with Texas, and then we started with the A's and went all the way down to, everything. Made it down pretty far into the alphabet. And we had a lot of meetings with a lot of deans and a lot of people like that were actually interested in what we were doing with the academy, where we were giving the academy away as a tool to their students that they could use to get elective credits for, who were interested or who were attending the entrepreneurship and marketing programs. And that whole thing turned out great. So the incentive was we were going to give a huge discount per student that enrolled into the academy. And we were going to provide them with the amount of content necessary that would require or fill the requirements for them as a college student. And this turned out fantastically well. This was one of our biggest checks that we had wired to us into our business account. And this was one of those days and those moments where you realize this cost nothing. This cost me nothing. I remember me and Sarah were actually making the calls ourselves and having the meetings ourselves. So every single one of these calls cost us a little bit of time. I think it was like an hour a day, maybe an hour and a half a day or something like that we were investing into this test to see if we can get the meetings. And we end up getting the meetings, and then we end up getting the sales, we end up getting the members, we end up getting the payments. And I mean, everything just shows in the long run that it worked. And so what I'm sharing with you today is just an example of that, and use it for whatever industry that you need to. But think about it as, if you sell something, whether it's information services or a product or whatever it is, what is it that people are buying before they purchase from you? What is it that people are buying when they purchase your product? And what is it going to be when people are buying after your product? Now, when you can get those things together, and you could actually find yourself where you are, you have that idea of what you're actually selling, how you can partner with those people. Now you can actually offer, if you have, like, say, a subscription-based model, you can offer something like, hey, I want to approach you as a host beneficiary relationship. That's what we're going to call this, okay? So if we're thinking about how we're going to be able to bring more of your clientele, more people who would be your clientele or your customers into your world, find somebody who already has your market and then create that host beneficiary relationship. One way you could do it is what I shared, which was, if you had information services, just creating an irresistible offer for them. And then another way you could do it is, let's say you were selling some type of product, you could actually go after these folks and offer to say, let's say, give them 100% of the upfront profits, right? You sell 100% of the profits, and what happens after that is they'll get a percentage of the subsequent sales, right? So imagine if you were to approach somebody with, let's say, your market, they've got, they're selling $1 million worth of stuff to people who would buy your stuff as well, okay? And you approach them and you say, hey, look, this is my idea. I know this is gonna be valuable to your market. Here, let's go ahead, and why don't you let me give you a try? Why don't you let me send you a sample? Why don't you let me go do whatever it is? But I need you to endorse this, right? And then we could talk about the money. Now, a lot of people, they're gonna say, hey, look, I've tried that before. I don't get the endorsement. And I'm gonna share with you, what was your incentive? If your incentive was BS and you weren't actually delivering enough value to the host, then of course they're not going to find what you have valuable. They're not going to, open your package. They're not going to give you the time of day, because you're like, hey, I want to give you this, and then because I gave you this, can you just do something for me, right? That used to work. That might have worked. But what happens if you're like, hey, I want to give you this, and then I want you to actually give a shout out, and everybody who purchases the first time around, I'm going to give you all the money. Imagine the different response that you're going to have. That's incredible for these people. And if you can actually show up and say to these folks and deliver the value, now you're able to give this person who's the host some extreme value. And in return, if you have a product that's, say, on subscription model, you're now going to be able to give yourself an opportunity to create an income stream that didn't cost you any money. And that income stream came from you just reaching out to a couple of people and saying, look, I know you have a market. I know your market needs what I have. It's not indirect. It's not going to cannibalize what you're doing. And I promise you, it will not take away any current revenue that you're already making. Here's what we can do. And you send this out to them, and that will allow you to create what would be at least starting a negotiation, right? You tell me that you're going to help make me $10,000 this month and I don't have to do any additional work. You got my attention, right? And what's going to happen is, with these bigger hosts, these folks who have the actual assets, they're going to allow you to leverage them. Now, if you want that growth, if you're serious about business growth, but you really aren't thinking about Facebook ads, which I get you. Facebook ads, like I said, they're not the end all be all. I cannot stand when people are like, well, I just need, my one thing is Facebook ads. That's not going to happen. It's not about that. It's about thinking outside the box. So if we want to create these host beneficiary relationships, one of my mentors actually uses the analogy of the shark and what's that little fish that feeds off the shark's teeth? And so that's really what we're trying to do. It's a host beneficiary relationship. That little fish doesn't get eaten by the shark because it cleans the teeth, which the food inside the shark's mouth, which that little fish is eating, keeps the fish from having to go hunting. It's completely a win-win, right? And when you have the win-win, it's now easy for you to sell. It's so much easier for you to reach out to these business owners who are hosts with already proven assets that you could leverage without you having to invest any more capital, right? So it has to be done, though. Here's the final part of this, okay, is it has to be done where the cost for you, let's say that you're offering services at X price. Let's say it's $1,000. If you're going to offer this to the host, you have to be able to provide them with more value. So they have to be able to let their market know that they're getting a deal, right? That's basically what I'm saying. You have to let the host know, look, my price is usually $1,000, but anybody who purchases from what you're doing, I will go ahead and give it to you for $750, and I'll let you keep all the upfront profit so that anything on the subsequent sales, I'm going to go ahead and make my money on. We'll do 80-20 on all second and ongoing sales. Imagine what you just did. You just gave this person an immediate income stream monthly, ongoing sales of 20% of what you're doing, an immediate upfront lump sum, and just to leverage his assets. Now, if you believe this person is going to be in business for a while and they're trustworthy and it's somebody that you would like to be seen with, then this is a huge move. And this works, like I said, I've done it with colleges. This is somebody who doesn't have a college degree, calling up colleges and meeting with deans and sharing with them about how our product and our service is going to be able to help their students better as a complimentary service than what their current college is doing. And if we can get colleges to get on board with this, then I feel very confident that you can do this with just about any product or service. And that is something else. Now, another thing I want to share with you guys is one thing that we get is our daily management. Okay, what do we do with our client onboarding? How do we manage our time? How do we get things done at a rapid pace that we do? So I'm just going to give you a quick breakthrough, a quick insight into what we do with our onboarding process. This way, you can kind of identify with, do you have something similar? Is it not quite there yet for you? And hopefully if it's not, this will help you put something together yourself. And let's go ahead and I'm going to start sharing the screen. Okay. And then it should be sharing screen. Okay. So here we go. This now is the onboarding. Let me make this a little bigger for us. You're going to see that when somebody becomes a client with us, and this is specifically for the Wingman service. And the Wingman service for us is a 90-day build-out process where we actually create the entire VPC method, which is what my company was founded on. And we install that and implement into our client's business. Now, what we need from them is a little bit of content and such to make this happen, which you're going to see through this. And so everybody's held accountable. And we make sure that by the end of this, they have a working machine that's going to generate leads and sales with very little effort by them and very little maintenance. Now, when we think about the onboarding process, of course, we have to have some verification. So you're going to see that there's actually an intake form. So before we ever sign on a client, which is something that a lot of folks who are in the professional services business, they accept clients who are not qualified to be their clients. Been there, done that. A lot of times it doesn't work out too well. Sometimes you end up getting lucky, but a majority of the time, if you have specific qualifications of people you want to work with, make sure you stick with those. Your life will be easier. I promise you that. And so if we end up having our process laid out like how it is now, I actually get to hand this off to my teammates. I actually get to create this template, which you'll see up here. It's a template. And we pass this off now to the project manager who's handling the client themselves. So we usually have about 1 or 2 people on each client. And that manager now is going to be able to go through this and make sure that they've gotten the verification, they've gotten the intake form sent off, right? We've gotten the payment collected, the contract signed, and then we've gotten the verification that we can move forward with the build out. Then we go ahead and we send them out some gifts and some other things just to show that we love them, because we do. And then we want to make sure that we have the follow-up in place. And so you're going to see here, everything that we have inside of our onboarding process lets us know what needs to be built out for our client. Now, when they come on board and they get to see, oh my goodness, there's all this stuff that goes into this, it really gets them to see and justify the price. Because again, this is not cheap to get these kinds of things built out for you, but you can see the amount of time it's going to save. And plus the efficiency of it actually working, right? The effectiveness, you're talking about it's going to cost twice as much to get it done a lot of the time over the course of 6 months than to just get it done in about 30 to 60 to 90 days yourself with us. So when we think about how we're going to follow up with them, we have all the layouts here. Then we actually build out the funnel. Okay, so we start from the back end forward. We have to understand what our offers are. We have to understand all these cool things. So we have these exercises that are all put inside of, when we scroll up here, the intake form. So the intake form, you're going to see we have them fill out a customer profile. We have them fill out a hook and offer worksheet. We have them send over a list of assets. We have them send over any links to ads, funnels, or backend automation. We have them send over a list of competitors, any images, any login sheets, and access to the ads account and Facebook account. So you're going to see that we have all this stuff signed off, and there are going to be little subtasks that each need to be accomplished. When we have this stuff down, you're going to have on that first meeting, what we do on that first meeting after they become a client and we receive payment, we now attach deadlines to all these things. You're going to see there's no deadlines off to the right. But what I love about this is as we're scrolling down, you're seeing that, oh my goodness, okay, well, we have to do thank you pages, schedule pages, sales pages, lead magnets, lead pages, goodwill pages, survey siphon pages, right? We have all these pages. Then we've got the integrations that we've got to test. We've got the advertising campaigns that we've got to create and be able to get going. We've got the maintenance and scaling stage. We've got any kind of ongoing services. We've got what's required by the client. Now you're going to see right here, this is what is going to be needed throughout the course of the machine by the client. Now, some of these are optional, you're going to see, and some of them aren't, but most of them are optional. And so you're going to see it's going to be easy for us to get all this stuff done with very minimal requirements from the client themselves. And once this is all taken care of, now we have everything in line. So hopefully that helps you guys. I didn't want to go too much into detail with this. This is Asana, a very familiar software for a lot of folks who are in the professional services business, and it is an incredible software. And what it does, again, is it just makes our life easy. So hopefully this helped with anything that you guys are putting together. I seriously had a blast with this, and let me stop sharing the screen real quick. Hopefully, let me see. Oh, I think I did. Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate you guys. And if you have any questions about what I shared with you today, share them in the comments below, and I will see you guys on the next live. Take care.